Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. And today we're going to be talking all about setting sprays. Setting spray 101. So we're going to talk about my favorite setting sprays, how to apply setting spray and not ruin the rest of your makeup, the different types of setting sprays there are on the market, and the rest of your questions that you asked me on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking me those questions on Instagram because that is very helpful. If you want to be part of the Raggedy Royal Republic democracy, and making sure that your questions get to the floor, check me out on Instagram. Also, thank you so much for 40,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. But let's get into the video. Oh, if you want to know how to do anything on my face, I probably have a video on it. So check my makeup foundationals playlist where those videos live. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm coming to you the way that I come to you in every single 101 video, and that is in the step of makeup that I stop at right before I add what we're talking about today, which is setting spray. So as you can see, I have my face all the way set, all the way done. I've even added setting powder, which is the first step of the insurance for making your makeup stay on. The first step is setting powder. So if you want to know how to do my setting powder, my favorite setting powders, what is setting powder, why would you wear it? Watch my setting powder 101 video that I posted recently. And now we're going to be talking about setting spray, right? So you'll notice that I have my entire face on except for my mascara and lashes. And that is because I find that spraying the setting spray on the lashes, especially the bottom lashes, adds wetness, adds liquid to the face, and it adds liquid to the mascara. Liquid and mascara, bad combination. And sometimes it can start running off on the bottom of your eye. Honestly, that's not a really hard thing to fix with a little bit of concealer and powder, but it's just something that if you can avoid it, avoid it. Do your lashes afterwards. Also, if you're wearing full lashes, sometimes the setting sprays can change the integrity of the lash. It can make them hard and stiff. You don't want that. Do your lashes after you do your setting spray. All right, so now, per the usual, I've asked the Raggedy Royal Republic 4 questions because I want to make sure that these videos are as informative as possible. So I always ask my Makeup 101 video, what do you want to know about this? So I said, what do you want to know about setting spray? So one of the questions is, what is the difference between a setting spray and a finishing spray? So this is a great question because it's going to tie into why would you use setting spray and why are we here today? This is MAC Fix Plus, right? You've probably seen this product before. Very popular, especially if you started doing makeup a couple years ago. The girlies were obsessed, right? This is a skin refresher finishing mist, right? That's what it says on the bottle. It is not a setting spray. Now, this right here is the Benefit the Professional Super Setting Spray. On the bottle, it says Super Setter Long-Lasting Makeup Setting Spray. These are not the same thing, right? What is a setting spray? Why would I use a setting spray? I use a setting spray to set my makeup, to keep it on for hours. Also, sometimes to get a desired look. So as we'll talk about later, there are some dewy setting sprays, there are some matte setting sprays. So that's going to make sure that it gives off a desired finish. But some setting sprays are like this. They don't say dewy or matte. They just say, hey, I'm a setting spray. This is going to make sure that your makeup stays on. This is what a setting spray is for. A finisher spray, right? This right here is something that enhances your makeup, right? But it is not a setting spray. When would I use this? I would use this throughout the entire makeup routine. It gives the makeup a little bit of life. So if you're using a lot of products that are heavy and matte and drying, and you want to make sure that there's just some juice and life to your face and you want to rejuvenate your face, just have something to refresh yourself in between steps. That's when I would use Fix Plus. And this one is the coconut flavor, but it also comes in a lot of different scents, and this is the original one in a mini. I have a lot of mini setting sprays, which I'm learning making this video, but this is a mini of the regular. That is what a finishing spray is for. That's what MAC Fix Plus is for. Now, why does it matter? You're like, okay, I don't care. Why does this matter? This matters because I want you to set your expectations accordingly, right? So if you're looking for the Fix Plus spray to have 24-hour long wear, long lasting, it didn't say that. It never said that. It's going to make your makeup look better. It's going to help refresh your makeup throughout steps and at the end. I used to be a lover of this, but I noticed it's not keeping your makeup on because it's not a setting spray. This is a setting spray, all right? So that's the difference. That's a great question because as I was trying to make this video, I was trying to figure out how can I slide in that this is not a setting spray, because it took me a long time to learn that, and I'm like, I want to tell them. So how would I slide that in? Thank you for asking that question. Here's another example. This is the Florence by Mills Zero Chill Face Mist. That says face mist. It looks like a setting spray. You may believe that this is the Ulta setting spray. You may believe that's a setting spray by the bottle, but just read the bottle because this is a face mist. So if you say, hey, why is my makeup not staying all day? It never said it would. This is just to add some moisture back into the face and to refresh the face. This is not a setting spray. Okay, now let's talk about the different types of setting sprays. So there are some setting sprays that do not have an indicator if they're matte or dewy, and we'll talk about those in a second, but some setting sprays do. So for example, this is my favorite matte finishing setting spray. This is the NYX Cosmetics Matte Finish. I love this setting spray, right? It is matte. Let's talk about the difference between dewy and matte real quick, because you may be like, what is matte, what is dewy? Dewy is when you have the shine, the moisture, the face is still wet or looking wet, appearing wet. The highlights, that is dewy, right? So I'll put a picture of me looking dewy. I have a whole base routine on how I do my dewy base. So that video will come up in the cards. You should check that video out. Matte. Right now my face is matte, right? There is matte powder all over the face. There's no highlights except for my nose. Yeah, I'm not giving that up, okay? But the face is matte, and matte does not mean dry. A lot of times people think matte equals dry. No, the face is just smooth, it's velvety, it's one dimension, it's not wet. Well, it's never one dimension. The face, but there's no highlights is what I mean. No shine, no sparkles. This is matte, all right? So that's a difference. When I'm going for a matte look, I will use the NYX Cosmetics Matte Finish Setting Spray. This is my favorite matte setting spray. Once again, it does not make the face dry. Do not connotate dry and matte together, okay? It gives the face a little bit of livelihood, but it is not gonna leave the face looking wet or dewy. This right here is my favorite. Then on the completely other side of the spectrum, we have our dewy or illuminating face setting sprays. So my favorite is the Lottie London Illuminating Setting Spray, and this gives a little bit of a shine. I would put a picture right next to me. I can't explain it. This gives you like a little bit of a metallic shine. I am completely out. There is a glitter in here. Not a glitter. It's like an opalescent metallic like overlay, and it's illuminating. It's great. I love this setting spray. And it sounds very unappealing because like, why would I want metallics on my face? I wish I could explain it better. All right, and this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy set, and this has always been like a holy grail for me. When I used to do golden hour pictures, which is pictures in the sun. You know, when you do pictures in the sun, you always want that like wet look, especially in the summer. I'll put a picture next here. This right here, this is my girl. I was adding this all the time. I'm practically almost out. This is the same setting spray but in peach. I've noticed that setting sprays, they'll add different like scents to it. I guess because it's one of the ways that they can add scents into makeup that's not as scary. Like if my concealer smelled like bananas, I'd be scared. But if my setting spray smells like peaches, I'm like, and you spray it all over your face, you're like, I feel like most of this, I didn't even use my face. Maxie, my best friend, she's been in some videos, came over and sprayed it because she loved the way it smelled. So there's that. But this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy set. It's going to give you a wet look. I'm going to try to do half and half. I'm going to try to do half and half so I can show you. Just wait. I'm going to try to do one side one way and one side another. Let's see if it makes like a real difference on camera. But I really just want to show you how to apply it and some things to avoid. Let's take my NYX Cosmetics Matte Finish Setting Spray. And the first thing you want to do when you apply setting spray is spray out. All right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Lauren, you're wasting product, blah, blah, blah. Look. This has a return on investment. Those two sprays will make sure that the setting spray is ready to come out the nozzle in an even spray. All right? You want an even spray. You don't want big gloplets. You don't want big splotches. You don't want it coming out the top but not the bottom. Even spray. Why? If you do an uneven spray, you know what happens? Those big water droplets hit your face and then they ruin your makeup, right? And y'all know I don't like fear mongering in makeup. Like, nothing's really that big of a deal. To fix it, all you have to do is like go back through and do your steps again. But who wants to go back through and do their steps again if they can avoid it? You can avoid it. Spray, and then you want to hit the face. All these say like 6-10 inches away. Almost extend your arm the whole way. It's about 10 inches. Okay. Oh, so you see how I scrunched my eyes? Another reason why you don't want to wear mascara. I'm going to let that sit. I'm gonna let this dry down. I don't like to put makeup on top of the setting spray because that's gonna make a paste. It's gonna make a weird texture. It can be very streaky and start dragging things down. Like you can start dragging your blush down depending on how you do your brush. Just let it sit. Usually during this time, what I do is I put the lash glue on my lashes and I let that sit for a second. You have to let the lash glue sit for a second and be tacky. So I usually, while this is setting, I do my glue, and then when this is done, I do my lashes. That's usually how I like try to save time and multitask a little bit, but I don't touch the face while the setting spray is, you know, doing its thing. Now let's go into the Dewy set. Now the Dewy set has only a little bit in here, which makes me nervous. I don't like using setting sprays where they're too close to the bottom, because when they're too close to the bottom, they do that whole and then it's like uneven. So let's just see. Okay, that's strong. And now I'm gonna try to do the other side of the face. I do about, I don't know, I guess that was like 4 or 5 sprays. I don't do too much, because if you add too much liquid to the face, what's going to happen is your makeup is going to start dripping and running, because the setting spray is wet. So you add too much water, too much setting spray, it's going to start dripping. It's going to start dripping and you can see it, right? So I only do about 4 or 5 sprays. If I want a dewy finish like this, I might go through later in the day and add another spray. You know what I mean? I might add another, but I don't do it all at once. I don't douse the face in wetness, because that's just going to be literally counterproductive. You can already kind of see this side is juicier than this side, but I'll let it dry down. While I let this dry down, I'm going to do my lashes real quick and I'll be right back. If you want to know how to put on faux lashes, somebody today in my YouTube comments on my lash video actually said, like, I feel like I'm enrolled in the school of Raggedy World. Yes, at the school we offer a lot of courses. If you want to know how to do any part of my face, I have a video on it. My brows, my lips, my foundation routine. I have 2 foundation routines, maybe even 3 at this point when I upload this video, and how I apply my lashes. So if you want to see how I apply my lashes, there'll be a video that comes up right here. But I'm going to do my lashes and come back, and then we'll chat a little bit more. Hold on, see? I even sprayed a little bit too much right there. You see it dripping? No biggie, but you want to avoid doing too much. Okay, so here's what the 2 sides look like. This is the dewy side. This is the matte side. It is very subtle, but there is a difference. You can see the difference in the finish. Yes. But there are some setting sprays that have no indication on if they're matte or dewy, right? So the Holy Grail, the Forever Fave. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter, and this is their original one. And this is a long-lasting makeup setting spray. It doesn't say dewy, it doesn't say matte. This is just Urban Decay All Nighter. This right here, Urban Decay All Nighter, I literally walked in the rain. This was like my freshman or sophomore year of college. I walked in the rain with my face set with this. I would just like to say that my setting spray did its due. And I was good, okay? So I can vouch for this. Because I do my makeup so often, I never really have a time where I'm like, oh my gosh, my makeup stayed for like 24 hours. But walking in the rain, you get my verification. I feel like the matte finish, long-lasting setting spray also. These 2 I have tested out and have worn for many hours. They've also come in handy when wearing masks and things like that. But the biggest thing that's going to come in handy when you wear a mask is setting powder. That'll help you a lot. Setting spray will kind of lock it in. I have a few from Milani. This is the Milani Fruit Fetish Make It Last setting spray. One's in kiwi watermelon, one's in mango coconut. Once again, you know, you get to smell the scent. But if you don't like scent, they also have a Make It Last Original. And the Make It Last Original, it just says Natural Finish Setting Spray. That means that it's probably just going to set the face the way it already is. You know what I mean? It's not going to make it more dewy. It's not going to make it more matte. It's just setting the face and giving it a little bit of life, but not one way or the other. It's natural finish and it's 16-hour wear. I like this setting spray too. 2 people asked, what are the must-have ingredients and what should be the first ingredient in a setting spray? TT is not a chemist, okay? I am not a chemist. I try to stay away from things I'm not authorized to speak on. I don't like to make stuff up. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I do not know. I do not know ingredients-wise. Even looking in the ingredients here, the first ingredient of all of these are water. This one, active ingredients, is sunscreen. Not English. But Most of these, the first ingredient is water. I would consult Google or TikTok search engine for that one because I do not know. I don't know. Not gonna make anything up. About how long after applying sunscreen do you use setting spray? So when I put on sunscreen, I put that on my moisturizer, so I put that on first. So, well, to be fair, some of these products have SPF in them. Like my tinted moisturizer has SPF in it. Some of my foundations have SPF in it. So I mean, when I just put on sunscreen, I put that on first and then I do my entire makeup routine and then I apply setting spray. So a long time in between, because they're on two opposite sides of the makeup routine. SPF and sunscreen would be first and setting spray would be kind of last. But this is the Milani Make It Last Sunscreen Setting Spray. And this one has like sunscreen in it. It has SPF 30. So if you're into that. The only thing about this setting spray is that it has a very strong smell, which I guess I get because it's like it has setting spray in it and sunscreen, but it's a very strong smell. So that's my answer for the sunscreen question. There's a long time in between. If you're just putting on moisturizer and setting spray, that's a little funky. If you're just like no makeup, just sunscreen and setting spray, I mean, I feel that's another chemistry question. Like, I don't know if the setting spray really makes the sunscreen last longer. I feel like sunscreen only lasts a couple hours, and that's just like how long it lasts. But you might want to check this out because you kind of get a bang for your buck. This is pretty interesting. I actually just found out that this like existed. Pretty cool. Recommendations for sweaty girls. So I have normal to dry skin. I kind of try to talk about it every single time we talk about setting powders, my base routine, how to make things stay. Makeup doesn't slide or mix with my face oils as much because I don't have oilier skin. So here's what I would recommend, right? I just put that disclaimer out there because I feel like, yeah, I always put that disclaimer out there. But here's what I would think. I'll use a more mattifying setting spray. So this is the matte finish setting spray, or a setting spray that does not indicate that it is dewy. So it doesn't have to necessarily be matte, but something that doesn't indicate that it's dewy. I would not use a dewy setting spray on oily skin because you're going to have, you know, your face oily. You're going to try to make sure that you're, you know, powdering and keeping that, you know, under control. Adding dewy or adding wet on top of it seems like a recipe for disaster and sliding around. So I would go for something more matte if I had oilier skin and I wanted it to stay on. Do I change setting sprays for different occasions, such as regular day versus in the sun? I don't really change them up for different occasions, except for the finish. So if a day in the sun, kind of like I was saying about the oily makeup, a day in the sun to me indicates sweating. So I wouldn't use a dewy setting spray with a day in the sun where I know I'm going to be sweating, because I feel like that's just wet on wet on wet. You know what I mean? I may try to combat that with a matte setting spray. If I don't want my makeup to be matte, something like the Urban Decay All Nighter that doesn't indicate that it's dewy or matte. That's what I would do. Dewy on the sun. I mean, unless I'm taking pictures. I want it to look very wet. Like in the sun, golden hour type of vibe. I would go with the dewy because I'm like, I want it to look wet. But for like actual practicality and feel, I would go with something a little bit more matte because I don't want sweat and dewy setting spray. And I don't need all that. Do hydrating setting sprays actually set makeup? Do any of these say that they're hydrating? So I just went through all my setting sprays and read all the labels. None of these say hydrating. So I'm not sure if I can speak on this because I don't use any that say hydrating. As far as dewy setting sprays, they do set the makeup. Dewy and illuminating, they set it. They really do. And they give you a nice finish. None of these say hydrating. They say dewy, illuminating, things like that. Can I use matte sprays if I have dry skin? Now, this is more up my alley. So, yes, but here's what you want to do. So, if you watch my matte base tutorial or my dewy base tutorial, or if you just see me do my makeup at any time and explain what I'm using, I always use hydrating primers, right? So, like, this is the Milani Skin Quench Primer. This is my current hydrating primer. You want to use hydrating primers and you want to use, you know, juicy products throughout. So tinted moisturizers, foundation that's not super matte. And then when you mattify your skin at the end with the setting powder and the mattifying setting spray, your face is not too dry. You know what I mean? Because when I use hydrating primers and I want a matte face, you're like, well, why would you use something so hydrating and so, you know, dewy if you want a matte face? I don't want it to be dry. So adding all those hydrating elements underneath gives me a little bit of space to play around with a mattifying powder and a mattifying primer. If I use all dry stuff throughout and then I add it on top, that's going to be very, very dry. It's going to accentuate your textures. It's going to be bad. So yes, you can use a mattifying primer with dry skin, but you want to make sure that you're using products throughout your routine that are not super, super matte and super, super dry, because then you're not doing yourself any favors. Also, this NYX matte finish setting spray that I really like is not too drying. How do I know if a setting spray is actually doing its job? One, if your makeup can rub off on things. So I say this all the time, but I used to be obsessed with collar shirts in high school. Like, you wear one every single day. And if your makeup, you can see your makeup on your collar, setting spray may not be doing its job. Of course, makeup is not magic, right? So like, if you bump against something really hard, you wipe your face off and it comes off. Okay, now that's on you. You know what I mean? Setting spray, it can't combat force. But if you see your makeup coming off on things, like you're wearing a mask and your makeup is just like completely all in the mask, not on your face anymore, that might be a good indication that your setting spray is not working. If it says that it's going to be a dewy setting spray and you don't see any dew, okay, setting spray might not be working. If it says it's going to give you a matte finish and your face is giving oil slick, setting spray might not be working. That's how you know if your setting spray isn't working. But like I was saying before, make sure you read the label and figure out if it's a setting spray before you say, oh, my Fix Plus is not setting my face. It didn't say it was going to. So read the label. This is all about setting spray 101. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like if you learned anything. Make sure you subscribe down below if you want to stick around and be part of the Raggedy Royal School of Makeup. that was so cool. If you commented that and you're watching this right now, 10 points for you. Thank you so much for 40,000 subscribers. We are almost at 50,000 in my head, and that means that we're almost at 100,000, and 1 million is right around the corner. So thank you guys so much for that. Check me out on my other socials at Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to see more of my day-to-day life, see more looks. I do a lot more looks over there. Also see my bucket list series where I do different things. I do different activities, try different cuisines, different foods. I've tried like all the fast food restaurants. I have done some insane stuff. I did a Michelin star restaurant for my birthday. I went and saw the Renaissance tour. I did a triathlon. I did 75 hard, rage room, jumped out of plane, whole bunch of stuff. So just go check it out over there. Yeah. Also, let me know what you want to see in the next 101 video. I have done blush 101, waterline 101, eyeliner 101. I've done how I do my brows, how I do my nude lips, how I do my matte face, how I do my dewy face. And yeah, I think I've hit everything, but let me know down below if I haven't hit something that you want to see next. I know I owe y'all a brushes video, so I need to get on that. But I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your favorite setting spray down below, because I know I feel like every brand makes one. There's so many.